Hi everyone, today we're just going to go over the solution to the basketball problem. So the task, a basketball team logs the number of 3-pointers it achieves in each game of a 15-game season, and it stores the data in an array. So we can see in the first game, the team managed to score 7 3-pointers, and in the second game, the team managed to score 11 3-pointers. And in the third game, the team didn't score any 3-pointers. And in the last game of the season, the team scored 11 3-pointers. This is a global array in a computer program. So I'm just going to set this up. I'm going to call it 3-pointers. And it's just a global array with 15 values in it. So I'm just going to type out 15 random values. How many have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so there's an array with 15 rather random values. The program requires these 3 functions: getMax, getMin, and getAverage. So let's just define these functions. Def getMax. Now, 3-pointers, I'm just going to call it 3-pointers, is global. Okay, so this is a global array. So I'm not going to pass it as a parameter into getMax. Hopefully this function can see this array. It's global. So getMax. So I'm going to set up a variable called max. I'm going to assign it a very small number. What am I going to do? I'm going to call it -1, and now we can, hopefully you're familiar with how to calculate or how to determine the maximum number in an array. So let's make a for loop. For I in range len 3-pointers, and I've messed that up, haven't I? Because range is a function, so I need to do that. If 3-pointers I is greater than max, so the new max will be reassigned whatever that value is. Now hopefully you're familiar with this algorithm. This algorithm will determine the maximum number in an array. Okay? So for example, when I is 0, 3-pointers 0 is 6. 6 is greater than -1, that's true. So max is now equal to 6. Then I becomes 1, so we move on to the next element in the array. If 3-pointers 1, which is 7, is greater than max, which is now 6, 7 is greater than 6, yep, that's true. So max will be assigned 7, etc., etc. Okay? Now remember, this is a function. So when the for loop has finished its magic, this is the end of the for loop, everything's done. We've processed the array, we're simply going to return max. Okay? Now let's do the same with getMin. Def getMin. I'm going to set up a variable called min. What would be a good starter value for min be? It needs to be a big number. I'm going to have to kind of assume that in a game of basketball, they're never going to score more than maybe 100 3-pointers. I don't know basketball very well, but I'm going to set min up to have a starter value of 100. Then I'm going to loop through the array. And I'm going to say if the value that we're currently looking at in the array is less than whatever min is at the moment, then the new value of min will be equal to 3-pointers I. Okay, so similar logic to finding the max, just a little bit different. So make sure you understand that algorithm. If you don't understand it, make sure you find out what is going on. End of for loop. So now we can return, because it is a function, we do need to return something. We're going to return a min. Okay, next. Let's just push that up there a bit. What's the next one? Get average, and it processes the global array and returns the average value, and it's an integer. It does return an integer, so that's important. So let's def get avg. Classic way to do this is to create a total. For I in range len 3 pointers, which is the name of our array, total is equal to total plus 3 pointers I. So that's a classic algorithm for calculating the total in an array. And there's the end of our for loop. That's all finished now. We have a total, hopefully, and average is equal to total divided by 15. And we're going to return the average. Now the question is, does that give me an integer or a real number, a decimal number? We'll look at that later. And finally we have, there's another one, get throw count. This function is passed a number as a parameter. So there is a parameter, and the function counts how many times this number appears in the array, and it returns the count. So for example, if we say get throw count 7, it will return 2 because in the array 7 appears twice, there and there. Okay, so let's also define this function, get throw count. It's going to have a parameter, which I'm going to call num. Doesn't matter what you call it. I'm going to set up a count variable, assign it to 0, and I'm going to loop through that array, because that's what we have to do. Range len 3 pointers, and if 3 pointers I is the same as num, so if the element in the array that we're currently looking at is the same as the parameter num, we're going to update the count. And there's the end of our for loop. The processing is finished, so we can return the count. It is a function, so we will be returning something. Okay, now then let's go to a procedure, display message. This procedure displays what a team! If the average number of 3 rows in the array is greater than 5. The procedure displays what a team if the average number of three throws in the array is greater than 5. Okay, def display message. It's a procedure, not returning anything this time. I'm going to say if, well, we already have a function which returns an average. So let's call that function. If get avg, we're just going to call that function there, is greater than 5. So greater than 5, we're just going to display what a team. Else, is there an else? Otherwise it displays keep on trying. Else print keep on trying. Okay, so there's my procedure. Nothing's being returned. Okay, notice that I called a function that I've already designed. That function is helping me. It returns the number. So when I call it, this is replaced by a number, the average, and we compare that with 5. Okay, Now then, let's test some of this. I just want to test display message. Let's write a computer program. So here is a computer program. What I want to do actually is print the call to get AVG, because I'm curious. Is it going to show me a whole number, or 3 pointers are not defined. Print get AVG, in get AVG. So I think we've got to go into here, into my get average. Ah, yes. Let's try that again. Run module. Okay. Boom! So it does return a real number, but I want it to return a whole number. So I'm going to return, let's int average. Whoops. I'm going to convert that to be an integer before I return it. So that gives me a decimal number. I'm just going to make it. Let's just run that again. So it gives me 5. Brilliant. So let's go back to my program, and I'm just going to call display message. Just going to call that procedure. There's the definition, but in my computer program, I'm just going to call it. Let's call it. So first I'm going to display the average, and then I'm going to display a message. I'm going to get the average, sorry, and then I'm going to display the message. Let's just run that. Keep on trying! Because of course 5 isn't greater than 5. So the message we get is keep on trying. And that is the solution to the basketball problem.